European Knights returned to Main Road during the 77-78 campaign. Tell us, Gary, what was it like playing under the Main Road floodlights on a European fixture? And how did you find the experience playing against foreign opposition?
Well, to be fair, I'd already had experience, perhaps at a younger level, but I was already playing for the under-21s against many countries in Europe. So I was used to playing at that level. And obviously, at the time I played in the under-21s, there was overage players allowed to play in there, 2 overage players as well. So when you were playing against some of, like for instance, Germany, where we played them in the final of the under-21s, and I think 4 or 5 of that under-21s that we beat in Germany. We beat them at home 3-1. I scored 2, and then we went away and got beat, I think 5-4. I mean, defence is on top there, of course, but we won it. And coming back on the place was Hoeneß. I'm trying to think of the players, but there was like 3 or 4 of those players who played in that German side was coming back to Wembley to join the squad because Germany were playing England at Wembley. And they flew back with us on the same plane because they were joining up with the German squad. So I'd already started to play against a foreign opposition. So bringing European teams to Main Road and for us to travel was obviously a step up, because that's what we wanted to do. The whole idea of getting as high as you can in the league is to, in these days, is to either get Champions League or Europa League. So in those days, it was either you won it and you went into the European Cup, as it was then, or you went into the UEFA Cup if you finished in the top 4. And my experience of it is was very short-lived, because I was sent off in Standard Liège, and as I'm approaching my 64th birthday, I'm still suspended and I have 1 match left in Europe. And although I pleaded with Mancini, perhaps Pep was a bit too late, because maybe my better times had gone then when he joined, but to just give me 1 minute to get that mantle off my back, where Gary Owen, born 1958, die whenever, still suspended. So I've still got 1 match left in Europe.
So as we speak, you're still suspended from Europe.
I'm suspended. I think it was harsh to give me 6-match ban in Europe. I mean, when you go back to those days, 6 matches in Europe takes some doing, but I think they took into account that I'd been suspended when you clocked up the 21 points for 3 points for booking in the leagues. And then I'd been suspended playing for the 21s. I missed a game there. And then obviously they took all that into account. And when I got sent off in Standard Liège away, they decided, we need to teach him a lesson. And by God, did they. I'm 63 years of age and still suspended, got 1 match left. So, yeah, I could have played more games, but obviously I wasn't allowed because I got sent off and then I was suspended.
So prior to the 77-78 season, City head to Holland and Belgium for a 3-match pre-season tour. Yeah. What do you remember of that tour, Gary, or similar tours with City? Was this something the lads would look forward to as the new season approached?
Well, yeah. In fact, it stays in my memory. Our training camp was in Arnhem, and it was. I mean, obviously, I was only young then, so I'd never been to Holland before. But Arnhem was beautiful. I mean, it was like a picture postcard place that we trained in. Then we played against. I think we played AZ67 and somebody else, and so we did our pre-season there. But when you had time off after training, the area of Arnhem was just absolutely so picturesque, and it was summer as well, so it was really nice weather, and it's something that stuck in my mind of many places that we went for pre-season, not just with City, but when I was at West Brom or Sheffield Wednesday, wherever I was. That stands out without doubt, and it was a great place to go and prepare because it's very, very relaxed. And obviously, the Dutch teams were always teams that wanted to play football. Their philosophy was to play football, and I think from the influence of Johan Cruyff, I think all the way through to the national team of Holland, and they were in World Cups finals and everything at that point, Holland. So it was not only a great place to go and prepare for our new season, but it was great to play against opposition that wanted to play football, and it was a different type of football playing against Dutch sides than it was in the English league, because they were totally on possession and keeping the ball and playing in I suppose the Johan Cruyff way of the right way. if you have the ball, the opposition can't score. And it took many, many decades, but you actually seen it now under one of the Cruyff pupils in Pep Guardiola. He's bringing that concept to the Premier League. And there's no coincidence that everybody now, whether it's Premier League, Championship League 1, League 2, whether they can do it or they can't do it, they're trying to play the Pep way, because that is the right way to play football. It's enjoyable, it's entertaining, and it gets you the right place to get the results.
Absolutely. So you're now a vital part of the City first team. And without knowing what we know now, how did Gary Owen see his future at that time, as many of the City faithful could only foresee another 10 years of watching you in the City first team?
Yeah, I just signed a 6-year contract. So, my intention was to stay at the football club. I had no other intention. To stay at the football club. It was my club. It was my team. It was where I wanted to play my football. I thought it was the right place for me. I was progressing through the England levels. I played England B. I played in the Queen's Jubilee game. And what we are now is she just had her celebrations. I actually played in a Jubilee game in 1977 at Hampden. So football-wise and career-wise was going absolutely the right way. So I played England B under 21s. I played the Queen's Jubilee game, which is England against Scotland, and was going all the right way. And then I just signed a 6-year contract, so I was going nowhere. And then the club decided, and in my opinion, and not because I departed, but they brought Malcolm back for the second time. There's no denying what Malcolm did first time. I mean, nobody can deny that. If you speak to Mike and Francis and the players that played under him, he was a breath of fresh air. But when he came back the second time, I think people that had played under him first time, like Boothie and other players, saw a different Malcolm Allison in his approach to how he did it. And he just felt that radically, just to have a clean slate, which meant...
When did you hear, Gary, that during that season, 78, 79, when did you hear of Malcolm coming back? Was it spoke of throughout the season? Was there rumours he was coming back, or was it just...
No rumours, no nothing. We played Southampton in a League Cup tie, pouring down. It seems to every time I'm sunny story, it's pouring down with rain, but we are in England, of course. We played Southampton in midweek, and we got beat in a League Cup tie. And we came back, and obviously we had the day off the next day, because everything was by coach then. So it was a long old journey there and back, and played the game. So we had the day off, and the day after, we all came in for training. And Bill Taylor looked vague in his appearance, and I thought, I know we've got beat and he's the coach, but this seems a bit different. And then Tony Buck came in alongside Malcolm Allison, and Malcolm Allison walked in, and Tony had explained that Malcolm was coming back and he would be our coach, which put Bill in a very difficult situation, because he was the coach, he was the England coach. So Malcolm would come in, and Malcolm just steamrolled. There was no place then for Bill. And Bill eventually moved. He left the club because Malcolm had taken his job, really, and really then just took over the whole team. It seemed to push Tony to one side as well. And there was people on the board at that time that were fans of Malcolm first time round, and I think they were influential in bringing him back the second time. But when he came back in, straight away, you could tell he was wanting to prepare the team quite considerably different than anybody had ever done before. When you think of, he brought in I know what I'm going to say will make you laugh. He brought in a dancing instructor, a world champion dancing instructor, Lenny Heppel, his name was, who, if you saw Mike Shannon and Asa Hartford in a training session dancing together as he told them how to, because it was good for balance and movement, then we knew. And a lot of players thought, this is not, I don't know where we're going with this. Yeah. And Malcolm made it plainly that he was going to make changes. He felt that some players were at an age that he couldn't change the way they thought, and he wanted people that he could mould his to way he thought and played. And then the club allowed Malcolm to sell cheaply and buy expensively. Yeah. When you think, that we bought Steve Daly for 1.5 million, and for the price of that sold me, Peter, Asa Hartford, Joe Royal, Brian Kidd, all for the price of Steve Daly. And Steve is a good friend of mine and still is to this day. I remember speaking to him when he was being linked to us, and he was just saying, "Oh, guys, yeah, City is trying to get me to come to City. I can't wait because obviously the players I'm going to be playing with there, he'll be fantastic. What's he like?" So I'm telling him all this stuff. And then Malcolm had obviously told players that who wasn't going to be wanted. I asked the question. He said, "Well, no, you're not for sale, but if anybody comes in with a bid, you can speak to them." So in hindsight,
kind of first interactions with Malcolm when he came back, Gary, the discussions.
It was not somebody that you could approach. It was just, it was vague in his, there's no warmth I felt from him to certainly to the squad that was there at that point. And yeah, I had that feeling that maybe I was not his type of player. Although Ken Barnes had argument after argument with him about why he would even contemplate to think of letting me go. And obviously Ken knew him from his first time as well, because he was a trainer under Malcolm and Joe. And so Malcolm always denied that, no, I was not for sale. But if somebody came in, they had to raise money. Excuse me. So Ken, he didn't buy that. He said to me, I think he will let you go if somebody comes in, but you might be better hanging on because managers go quicker than what players do.
Yeah.
He said, just think about it. Anyway, clubs came in for me: Everton, Leeds, different ones, and West Brom. And Ron wanted to speak to me, so I went to meet him in Lim, and I sat down with him, and he told me that the team that he had great young players in it: Derek Snatham, Brian Robson, Remy Moses was coming through, so Regis, and I played with four of those players in under 21, so I knew them as teammates as well, because we'd grown up together, youth team under 21s, England. And he said that Malcolm didn't want me with the team he had. It was going to go forward. It was an exciting team, and silver tongued me into agreeing to go to West Brom. In hindsight, of course, I should have said, no, I'm going to hang on. I've got a 6-year contract. But maybe I felt that if I'm not playing, that would affect my England chances. In fact, it was the opposite. I went to West Brom, and as Brian Robson proved, he left West Brom to go to Manchester United to get himself in the England team. And I went from Manchester City to West Brom to get me out of the England team. And it certainly worked that way. And then obviously Ron, after 2 years, he left. Robbo had left because his contract was coming to an end. He took Remy with him. And then the team started, it was in disarray a little bit then. And then we had different managers and what have you. And my chances of going further forward, the World Cup was coming in 82, and I played England in every level. Graham Ricks, who was at Arsenal, had never played in any of the England sides. He'd always been a substitute. He went to the World Cup instead of me. And mainly because Arsenal that year had got to an FA Cup final, had got to the Fairs Cup final or something. They were up there in the league, and West Brom wasn't. And the managers were picking players, as you probably remember, under the Greenwood era as well. And that he, at one point, I think he picked 7 Liverpool players for one international. And when Everton in 85, he picked, when they were winning the league, Everton, I think he had 6 Everton players in England's squad at that time. So maybe, hindsight, I should have stayed, had a 6-year contract, but I was thinking by staying there and not playing, it would have hampered me. And progression as a player, I needed to be playing, not playing. And you wanted somebody that believed in you. Like we said at the start of this interview, from day one, people believed in me when I went to Manchester City in every level, from youth team, A team, reserves, first team. They believed in me. So if people believe in you, you're halfway there to with the confidence it gives you to fulfilling what you want to do. But I could see with Malcolm, he wanted to change, and he was looking to bring in young. He brought in Steve McKenzie, who was only 17, there for $250,000, and Steve ended up coming to West Brom with me later. He promoted Nicky Reed and Tommy Kane had just come through. I think he'd give his debut to Tommy at 16. I think he was still at school. So he was trying to change it all far too fast, sold too expensive, and sold inexpensively, good players, and brought in players that had no value after we bought them. Steve Daly, as I said, is a great friend of mine to this day. Steve will tell you 1.5 million, he couldn't believe it. He said, but, and then City sold him within 3 years, I think, for 300,000. Kevin Reeves come for 1 million. And Reeves, I knew him from the under-21s, came from Norwich, paid 1 million for him. And then he left City, I think they got 100 grand for him. So there was a lot of business that was badly done. And although Malcolm was at the heart of it, the directors at that time needed to be made accountable because they allowed it to happen. And I'll say to this day, if it had not been for Dave Makin and John Wardle, we might not be talking about Manchester City now, because we may well have been out of business. We could have gone to the board. They saved us, without doubt. And it still irks me that John Wardle and Dave Makin that put money into the club to keep it afloat and keep Manchester City, because they're loyal City supporters as well. They're probably the only ones in football I can think of at a club, the stature of Manchester City, that probably cost them money to help us keep afloat. They lost money when Shinawatra come in, and then after then it got onto a level footing because the rest is history. Sheikh Mansour came in, and not only for the football club, but for the east of Manchester, I was helping to develop it, give jobs, affordable housing. It's not just about what he's done to our football club, but what he's done to the east of Manchester. So as much as we're delighted to have Sheikh Mansour and his help and what he's doing for East Manchester, I think City fans should also just look back a little bit and think what Dave Makin and John Wardle did for this club. Otherwise, Sheikh Mansour might not have had a club to buy if they'd not stepped in. So I'm eternally grateful to them, me as a supporter now, having had John Wardle and Dave Makin at that time to keep us afloat, and just shows you, look where we are now.
So what's your opinion of the 2022 City side, Gary, and which players do you enjoy watching the most? Look forward to seeing.
Well, listen, I don't know how long this interview can go on for, but our squad is phenomenal, and you can go through any of it. You can pick anyone you want, I'm delighted. But, as a midfield player, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, Yaya. I mean, I look at the positions and I'm thinking, what a joy it would be to play in that team. If you can control and pass the ball. Pep wants players that can control, pass the ball in any position. If you can control it, you can pass it. And then you add on to that the qualities that the individuals have as well. Then you've not only got a great player, but when you've got a squad of that, then you've got a great team man squad. Who do I like to watch? How could you not be impressed when Pablo was there for his determination, his grit? You cut him inside and he was blue. He had Manchester City right the way through him. And Sergio Aguero, we paid 38 million for him. He gave us 10 years of his best of his life. Became the top goal scorer. Then Yaya, David Silva for me is, I still watch now. I still watch games on YouTube and stuff of him, because you don't really appreciate. Yes, we do, but unless you look deeply into some of the games that he did, how talented he was. Absolutely. And what Yaya did for us, the important goals at Newcastle in that United semi-final when he scored, and got us our first effort, and the goal he scored against Sunderland in the top rigging when, we needed a goal. Yes. So they've all had great special memories, and it just gets better. Now we brought in a beast of a boy, 21 years of age, Haaland. His goal scoring record is just, if you'd written that down, and so they said it's fiction, it can't be fact. That nobody can do that. He scored more goals. I think he scored more goals in Champions League in 15 games than anybody's ever done. So he's 21 he's a goal scorer. And he's hungry and he wants it. And and we're bringing in players. If Calvin Phillips comes, maybe not everybody's a cup of tea, but I'll tell you what, because you don't see him, we only see him when he plays against us. And by the way, there's a lot of great players that have took a hiding against us. So, you can't argue that. But England have picked him. He is a great like for Fernandinho. Nobody's ever ever going to forget what Fernandinho did because he was just absolutely rock solid. But age catches up with everybody. You have to move on, and the key is to bring in players, and players that get us to the heights we're at probably won't be the players that help to enjoy that, because it's all part of progression. They go out, new players come in. Liverpool did it when they were doing it in the 70s. Mm-hmm. United did it, and Chelsea have done it, and now it's our turn. So I think for you to stay at the top, you can't stand still. You cannot let anybody in the race that we're in all competitions, you can't let, if you've got a gap, you can't let people catch you up. So you've got to keep that gap, and that's what hopefully we do again with the buying, with the buys that we're buying. We're buying all players. You look at the players that we buy; they're all young. They've got the best years ahead of them, and Pep can make them better players, and that's exactly what he does. Bought fantastically well. The resale value will always be more than what we paid for them. So it's great business now. We've got a great business model. We've got players that want to come because we're successful and play under Pep Guardiola. So as long as Pep can stay, I think every Manchester City fan will be happy, because he knows, because we all know what we're going to get, and we're going to get great football, we're going to get great entertainment, and we're going to get success.
Fantastic stuff. So what's Gary Owen of 2022 up to?
What am I up to? I've got a little boy who's only 7, so I want now. I'm a working to live, or I'm a working to live or living to work. That's what you've got to work out, and I think I've got it right now. I've got a company that can run itself. I've done it for 22 years, so I'm letting them run it. If they need help, I'm here. But please don't tell me how to do your job. You do your own job. I'll take my boy to school, collect him, play a bit of golf, catch up with people that you don't see as often as you should do, because as you start to get a bit older, without getting morbid, as you start to get a bit older, you find that some of your friends are disappearing in front of your eyes, and it's sort of making me think I need to catch up with quite a few people that are close to me and mean something to me, and enjoy time with them. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm here if the company need me, but I'm not looking actively to day-to-day doing it. Obviously, it's my company, so I'll be there in the background, but they know what they're doing. Who's my staff? They know what they're doing. They don't know they know how to do it. So let them get on with the job, and I'll get on with my job of enjoying the life. That COVID 2-3 years certainly opened my eyes to what's important, and it made me realise. And so now I'm able to spend time. I know this interview has been on and off because I've been away, and I come back, then I went away again, and then you had your birthday, and I'll be going away again. So what am I doing? And then I cannot wait for the start of the season. I cannot wait. And obviously I'll be working in the Citizens, hosting the Citizen Suite again, which I've done for about 11 years now, which I'll enjoy. It's like a club in there now, saying people renew. It's like a friendship. I go there and I'll host it. My boy's mad, and I mean mad for City. I mean, just absolutely crazy. Now he's 7, he wants to go to away games now. So we'll be in West Ham. We'll be at West Ham in amongst all the guys. I've told him that the language might be a bit choice. He said,
"It's not the language."
I'm 7. I'm 7. I know the words. I said, all right, okay. So he wants to go to West Ham, so I'm going to take him to West Ham. And now I know he won't be able to come to Europe because he's got school, but he thinks that I think he can go to Europe as well. I took him to his first midweek game, night game against Real Madrid, because I said to the school he's going. So, he might come in a bit late tomorrow morning, but it's something he needs to experience. It's part of life. It's learning. He's got to go and see it. He's got to go and see Real Madrid. And he went, enjoyed it. And then obviously a little bit like older people than him, when the Aguero situation was 10 years ago, where everybody was crying because we thought we'd lost it. And then Dzeko gets the equaliser, and we think, well, yeah, we're still going to lose. It's a little bit too late. And then the third one goes in, and people's crying with happiness or relief or something. Now I'll take you 10 years further forward. My boy 7, we're 2-0 down. He's crying his eyes out. attempt to get some fire in his belly, because you need to. This is when you need support, when you're losing, not support when you're winning. Support when you're losing. You need to get some fire in your belly, son. We get to 2-1. He said, "Are we okay?" I said, "No, we're not okay. We're losing." We get to 2-2. "Are we okay?" I said, "Yeah, we're okay, because Liverpool are drawing. So that means if he stays the same, we win. But I'm going to tell you, the Scousers will score. They will score. So we need to get another one." And never did I think, within 5 minutes, a boy that was crying his eyes out, breaking his heart because we're losing 2-0, to somebody that was shouting, and screaming, and Kevin De Bruyne and Gundogan shouting, and it changed. And that's what football gives you. It gives you highs, it gives you lows.
And lifetime memories. Lifetime memories.
Oh, it is. You know, we thought we'd never see another Aguero moment, but we saw Gundogan and the Rodri moments, which 3 goals in 5 minutes were. I don't know about you, Mark, but I didn't see it coming.
No, I couldn't see it. I said to my lad at the time, we're running down blind channels here. I couldn't see nothing happening. There was balls.
And then he makes two substitutions.
Yeah.
Two substitutions. When you do it and it works, you're a hero. When you do it and it doesn't work, he doesn't know what he's doing, because that's football management. But he made the right call, and those 2 players lifted our team. Yeah. Gundogan made the first goal, and through Zinchenko. Zinchenko made the second goal. Yeah. And Kevin put a great ball across. I mean, how we saw that, I've no idea. I heard, well, watch it. I heard the commentator say he put that ball across hoping somebody was in there. No. That is like somebody who's never watched football in their life and he's commentating on it. That's lazy commentating, that is. It is, because he would have seen it. Of course. A player of his quality sees something that others don't, and he obviously doesn't see it. That ball, he just took it, and the commentator said, "Oh, we thought he might have shot." Well, of course you thought he might have shot, but the option was not to shoot. The ball was to get across the goal. Gunn was coming in far, but he saw him and picked him out. So it was a great end to the season. But like I said before, and I'll say it again, I do not want those times at Gillingham where it's in the last seconds, or Aguero in the last seconds, or 2-0 down with 15 minutes to go. I wanted where we go to Brighton, and even when we went to Brighton and won it a couple of years ago, we were still went 1 goal down there. I mean, it's like, and people say, "Oh, it's same old City." No, it's not same old City. Same old City would have lost those games. Well, that saying, Gary, that saying will go as we all get older, as we disappear. That saying will go from the younger generation, I think. It will do. It won't. But we're never beaten these days. We are never beaten. And I'm looking forward to it again. And I will say the same thing again, is that whoever finishes above Manchester City will win the league. And if nobody finishes above us, then obviously we're going to win it. But whoever gets above us will win it. There won't be 2 or 3 teams above us. If one team, and Liverpool have done the darndest to do it, they must be thinking, what do we have to do to get above Manchester City? Well, you've got to get a point more. That's normally the case. So I'm hoping it's not as tight again this year. I hope we make our title challenge a bit easier for all of us. We're not as much tension on the last game of the season. And I will still say, Mark, to this that people say about Champions League, of course, you want to get that monkey off your back, like we had to do with the first trophy. But that stupid thing that United had with those 36 years, that when we won the first trophy, ding, 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 they all went down and off. Maybe we should put one at Upper Towers now for United, should we? Then that'd be good. But I think I would, well, not think, I would always have Premier League over Champions League. Always. Right. And that was one of the questions I got for you, Gary. So these are one-word answers only. Main Road or the Etihad? Etihad. Joe Corrigan or Joe Hart? Big Joe Corrigan, because otherwise he'll knock me out. Premier League or Champions League? Premier League all day long. For kit designs, Umbra or Puma? I've got to say Umbra, because why? Because I wore the kit. But that new kit that has come out of the home is a great kit. I mean, we've had some great kits. We've had some, and you've got most. I can see them behind you. You've got most, and some that wouldn't be the nicest to wear. But I would listen. The Puma kit's fantastic, and the home kit's fantastic. But I have the Umbra because I wore that kit. And the final one word only. You have to pick one player to sign: Phil Foden or Gary Owen. Phil Foden. Yeah. Gary, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and share your tales of blue. Thanks for coming on tonight. It's a real pleasure. Mark, I'm sorry it took this long to get us to get it done, but eventually
It's
done. And I hope whoever watches it enjoys it.
Great stuff. Thanks, Gary.
Take care. Cheers, mate.